a therapeutic instrument. You want it as clean and as clear and as simple as possible.
Yes. You said it is necessary just to put a little, some drops of metal solution.
That's all.
But if you don't have that, could you put, for example, a ruby on?
Oh, sure.
And
Put a
charge
ruby on
it?
it like that. You have the quality of the ruby here.
Beautiful.
It's simple.
Yeah.
Could you do it with the thought alone?
What?
Could you do it with the thought alone?
If you had a clear image in your subconscious mind of what that is, the essence, you must know the essence of the ruby. But just thought of ruby itself, if you had not experienced ruby, it will not work. Please, I repeat this now. You can just mentally conceive of ruby and then put the thought of ruby in here. If you have had contact with ruby, if you have an experience in your body, the vibrational essence of ruby.
What we're talking about now is silica, and but then we have the diamond, carbon.
The carbon, yes. I have stayed away from carbon, because that's another world of study.
Excuse me, carbon.
What is
Called diamond.
Carbon.
Corundum is aluminum oxide, chromium. That is another lattice. It is much more limited. Now, I'll tell you part of the reason, too, why I stay away. Silicate, SiO2, the hexagonal lattice that silica forms in its unit cell, this, matches the vibrational spectra of water. We are mostly water. It is my belief, and I underline the word belief, that our outer body, the energy body, is hexagonal. So there is a balance, a fitting between our body, our energy body, and this. These two fit together. Do you see what I'm saying now?
Yes.
And therefore I have put aside looking at other stones like diamond, like ruby, and all of this, until I've carefully worked out the knowledge in this. See, this one crystal, the four-sided healing crystal, I put over 10 years of study. 99% of my work and my study has been this crystal and the form that you see. We're going next into form. I'm giving you step by step a progression of how this has evolved. We have in our body, your body, a unique type of crystal. It is called a liquid crystal, a flusica crystal.
Flydende krystal.
Oh, what?
Flydende krystal.
Fluna. You're just wonderful. Now, it is the bridge between a rigid solid like this and a fluid, water, which is moving in all different directions. The membrane around our cell is a liquid crystal. The fluid in our bloodstream, fluid, forms into liquid crystal systems. It is my belief that when we think, we release in space a vibration which we draw in with breath into our lungs and structure the bloodstream with our thought. Now, what structures is water? The water in our body then is a information storage system. You can find it out. When you become stressed, when you become emotionally disturbed, what happens? Shh. You put on weight. Not fat. Water. Why? Because your thoughts, the energy coming from your mind, is structuring that water, binding it into the tissue of your body and not releasing it. That's why when people go on these diets, they become all excited. First week, down goes 5 pounds. It's not fat. It is water. That's why I said to you, you're going to lose 5 pounds. And you will, if you want to let certain things go. Now, I have put 3.5 years of study, systematic study of the energy from crystal going into water and structuring it and forming a liquid crystal information store. And we have proof in our laboratory of exactly that taking place. The water is changed. There is a change in pH, hydrogen ion, change in surface conductivity, a change in resistivity of the water, and also of the infrared and ultraviolet spectra. So the water is chemically changed by just putting a thought form into the water through a crystal. Now, I have a number of papers. Those of you that are interested in science, here are what we call the Marcel Water papers. It was a preliminary summary of information, and these are available from our laboratory with references. And I have with me the very latest paper we have just finished on the structuring of water. It will be approved by the patent department, and then I will have a copy for you when I go back to the States, and immediately I will send it to Kurt. But it gives the most solid, technical, scientific statement that thoughts have the capacity of structuring our body by means of the water that is within us. And the key element for structuring our body is the energy transport through crystals. And that really is the whole loop or methodology of transfer. Question?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was thinking, what does the crystal really do in this process? You send the thought to the crystal. What then?
The crystal. All right, I'm speaking, am I not, to you now? And you're hearing me.
Yeah.
What is the tape recorder doing?
Taping, listening, receiving.
How does it store that? Here's a cassette. It stores my voice, doesn't it? Now, it stores my voice by forming what we call magnetic domains. A magnetic domain is pulling the energy from magnetic material and form a little energy bump on the surface of the tape. When I hold a crystal like this in my hand, I can store not only voice, sound, but my inner feelings, the energy of my body. So it becomes a storage element of myself, a dynamic storage element. Now, I just come with you, just hold it for a second. The unique difference between this and this is, watch, A, the magnetic tape, once stored, does not change. Okay? This, when you store the charge in here, is continually changing. It's continually reflecting you once you put yourself in it. There's a dynamic nature to this and a static nature to this. Now, do I give you a deeper understanding now? You see? I have a dynamic tool of myself or what I'm dealing with in working into you.
Well, so if I understand you right, then that means that the crystal is recording all the time.
Totally.
Yeah. So that means that at any point in time you can go in and you can just tap the information and see what is going on.
That's right.
Is there any amplifying of your energy?
I'm coming to that now. I'm trying to give it, that's why I'm speaking slowly. I'm speaking step by step because this is a very, very complex process of thinking. We must think dynamically, yes.
I was thinking if I have 4 kids who also bring water to the table and so on, could anyone take a crystal, not this crystal, but a
Natural crystal?
and we can use that for the water?
Sure.
But I was thinking, if the kids said, oh, we want 200 kroner to buy something, they could put it into and I could drink the information.
You can drink the information.
Would be smart.
It becomes like a communion. We're exchanging the essence from one another. I can put my thought of well-being, of love, into that water through the crystal, and then you can drink this and imbue yourself with it. We experienced that in Germany. It was really remarkable. We had 4 days together, and as we grew in association, we became closer and closer, bonded together. It's an experience I will never forget. It was remarkable. Yes, you had a question.
I've had some information and speculation with regard to sugar. Like sugar is a crystalline product which is not obtained in nature, but it's a product of a refinery.
Good. Yeah.
And I have seen and observed that when taken into the body, and if not sort of substituted or transformed, because it's sort of as far as I can see, it's a product a body can't use, that kind of sugar, simply. That when it goes through the body fluid, it can become sugar, crystalline, again in the brain, and is the main reason for strange headaches, like the guy be hit by cosmic forces or thought forces, for example, from all persons around him, like he become overwhelmed by thoughts, and like a guy, a little boy in school eating too much sugar, he just sit pumping on the chair, rocking and so on. By this sort of being out crystallized in the brain.
Well, it's even deeper than that. I think he becomes overcharged. There is an energy far beyond his capacity in his body to handle it. See, there's a charge limit that we normally see. You have it. Let's stay away from human body right now. Let's look at a battery. You take and apply a field to the battery and charge a battery. It will only hold a certain charge, then it will saturate and not accept a further charge. If you overcharge, the walls of that battery break down. There's a breaking down because of excessive input of energy. I think the same thing is true here. A little bit does it good, but then when you go beyond that little bit, there's an overload that takes place, and then you can't handle it. And there may be truth to what you say in the crystallization, in other words, a building of a foreign form. That as you were talking on sucrose, I was thinking of fructose, which are the fruit sugars, and then finally of the honey. You see, the form that we take, honey, is what? A fluid. It's not in a solid form. Isn't that right?
Yes.
And there may be a good aspect to that. I mean, this is the start of some very good thinking here, and let's carry this forward a little bit further each time. See, the root behind wine, the alcohol is a sugar, is a grape sugar. And that breaks down into alcohol and water. C12H22O11 breaks into alcohol and